It's 2020 and it's still quite rare to see trans representation in video games. Tell Me Why is a step in the right direction. It demonstrates a well understanding of how to craft a story not only including transgender characters, but putting a trans character at the forefront as the leading role. Continuing developer Dontnod's tradition of advancing the modern adventure game genre, Tell Me Why is a 3-episode adventure game taking place in rural Alaska. In the small town of Delos Crossing, a pair of twins reunite after a decade apart. Understandably so, the twins are overjoyed to see themselves again, but on the sad note of having to go through the belongings of their now deceased mother. Over the course of the next 9 to 10 hours, I saw the twins reunite through their close bonds from when they were children as they go through the experience of learning more about themselves, their memories, and what caused them to separate in the first place. It's a story grounded in reality, though like this developer's stories beforehand, it features a touch of magic. In Tell Me Why, the magic is in its writing and the twins' ability to telepathically communicate and recreate shared memories together. That ability creates interesting moments for the twins' mystery journey. What I want to applaud Dontnod for is its ability to write an authentic feeling trans character, especially in the leading role. While yes, his trans experience shapes his character, it's not the only thing that defines him in this story. He's a confident, strong, and multi-layered character that just happens to be trans. Likewise, the story doesn't use it as a drama plot device that focuses on trauma or negatively focuses on the trans experience. Sure, you'll hear about 2 misgendered moments, but you'll never hear a dead name be said nor the use of some sort of transphobic crime as a narrative plot device. In the same tradition as its previous games, Dontnod's latest title continues to be an episodic video game. However, instead of partnering up with Square Enix, they partnered up with Microsoft, and thus Tell Me Why is free on Xbox Game Pass. As an episodic video game, it's an interesting concept when the titles are released only a week apart, while all a part of Game Pass. As opposed to Telltale Games' model of episodes being released months apart and purchased separately, the climactic build-up for this new series no doubt will be better organized because of it. As part of my review coverage, Microsoft provided me with a code to play all 3 chapters ahead of their release. While I'll be covering the series as a whole, I'll mainly focus on points from Chapter 1 for spoilers' sake. Chapter 1 focuses on setting the building blocks of the series' narrative, like introducing characters for the first time. While it pays off as a whole, it fails to deliver on some characters and makes for an occasionally slow start to the series. With that said, it doesn't tarnish the entire package. Sure, I would have loved to see more layers of the mother develop more organically, but for just about the rest of the cast, they deliver on being well thought out additions to the story. In fact, Tell Me Why mixes the aspects of reality and fantasy in such clever ways that feel seamlessly woven into the story. The twins' ability to recreate memories is particularly interesting, as an individual's memory will always be subjective because of their point of view. Likewise, when we see what the twins remember, we occasionally get different accounts of the situation. As a player, we get the choice to select which memory we believe the most. It's a bit of a two-sided sword, as while I think it's an interesting gameplay mechanic, I think it can also belittle a character. With that said, these choices don't seem to have big changes to the actions of the characters, but instead the relationship between the twins. Arguably, that's a bigger effect as they're the stars of the story and are largely the most compelling part of the narrative. Along with its story beats, I found myself consistently having to solve puzzles and minigames that felt like a great rest period between the heavy-handed topics. The story has a lot to unpack, and these tranquil moments of using childhood memories to solve riddles, or just fishing with the locals in town, was a nice break from the usual story revelations. Tell Me Why continues Dontnod's visual style that they developed with the Life is Strange series. Characters feel a lot less stiff in this iteration with a bit more life present on the cast of characters. I think what particularly stood out to me with this series is the camera work for scenes that had characters having active conversations where my input was required. These moments felt a bit more intelligently framed, coming off as real cinematic experiences that I was able to interact and give my input to. It's needless to say that Tell Me Why isn't the most realistic looking game, but the way the camera work is handled helps it shine as a realistic experience. While playing on both PC and Xbox, I didn't notice any frame rate dips or weird glitches. Performance seemed stable and much better in general than the studio's previous projects. With the game so focused on its storytelling and characters, it's important for the project to have a solid cast that can bring these characters to life. Tell Me Why more than delivers on this front, with both August Iden and Erica Lindbeck delivering great performances as Tyler and Allison respectively. It's great to see a trans man play a trans character, a no-brainer move on paper, but one so rarely seen in media to this day. I applaud the developer's choices in going what should be a standard for stories around this subject matter. Music is also well done with a mostly somber feeling soundtrack that fits the melodramatic moments on screen. It's an earnest depiction of these characters that are better executed because of the tranquil and almost melancholy tunes playing behind them. Tell Me Why is a refinement of Don't Nod's craft as an adventure game studio. Their ability to handle difficult to talk about situations, and generally just stories that rarely get told, is a testament to their writing. Tell Me Why is a great demonstration of how much untapped potential there is in the adventure game genre, and how I hope we see the studio continue to evolve. The memory mechanic with the different points of view is a remarkable idea, and I hope it gets brought back in some shape or form in the future. Though I think there are some characters that could have been given a bit more time to shine and develop, Tell Me Why was a great story to go through, and one I recommend checking out, especially to those that have a Game Pass subscription.